Anthony K. We're going to get more sports fluent. Anthony, first of all, I haven't seen you in about a week and a half. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I like that you changed my name from Mike to Update. This episode of Midday Update is brought to you by no one, but hey, if anybody's listening, taking sponsorships.
Hold on, we got to get sponsorships. What do you mean? It's not update. We're more fluent here. Come on, we're more fluent.
I'm just saying. The government of Canada. You're the province. What are you? The president of the provinces of Canada?
I'm the president of the provinces of Canada, and you don't know this. Over the weekend, I've been contacted about being the new mayor of North America.
Well, can you get me a government grant? Like, what is it? What's the use of having someone in a high position?
But I can get you a government grant for the next World Cup in 2026. So send in your proposals, and we'll meet this. But look, how do you like to be Matt Ryan? Blowing the lead in the Super Bowl is one thing. Your team, the Indianapolis Colts. Let's begin week 15 of the national. Where's the sound effects of the National Football? Never mind.
All right, you gotta tell me what effect you want.
Well, what effect do you have? I know you got the Ric Flair woo effect. Come on.
I got everything here. What do you want?
That's another ES something or other. Come on, don't play like that and all that. Okay. So anyway, week 15. Let's start off with Saturday. Where was Saturday? When your team, Indianapolis, let's say it's your team, leading 33 to donut. You're home, you get a coffee, you get a Starbucks, you could go to your McDonald's, get another coffee, get a Big Mac, get a McChicken, get a whatever. It'll probably be 33-21, game over. 33-0 turns into 33-33, turns into 36-36, turns into overtime, turns into a loss. Unbelievable. Go ahead, Anthony.
How can you go ahead? One, okay, the Super Bowl was worse because it was the Super Bowl versus a regular season game. That being said, are we surprised that Matt Ryan-led team blew a big lead? Isn't that his thing? The thing is, we always want to blame the defense. And I get it, because when you're going to look this up. In 2 years from now, someone will say Matt Ryan was a terrible quarterback, and they'll be having a debate. And someone will say, no, he won an MVP. He was this, he was that. And they'll look at the stats and they'll say, well, that game. Well, the defense gave up 39 points. And do you know that every quarterback ever whose defense has given up more than 33 points in a game has a losing record? And they'll make that excuse.
Yeah.
You got to stop doing that. There's some context that we're missing here. 33-0. You need to be able to run kind of a slow offense, get first downs, run up the clock. There is no way a team should ever come back 33 points on you. And the defense, the special teams, and all three, the offense, the coaches, all of them need to be ashamed of themselves. But Matt Ryan, listen, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, well, that's shame on me, man. We see there's something there. There's something there. It keeps happening to him for a reason.
Well, can you believe that? Like, unbelievable. Minnesota Vikings coming back and beating the Colts with Jeff Saturday. Poor Jeff Saturday, all right? Poor Jeff Saturday and all that. 39.
Why poor Jeff Saturday?
Well, because
he didn't pay his dues. He didn't come up a coaching tree, and he just got gifted a job. Poor Jeff Saturday.
Well, listen to me, Anthony. Is he really a coach? Or is he just best friends of the owner who put him in there for 5 games to see how he's doing? It can't get any worse.
And what happens when you give your idiot nephew the keys to your business? He makes you bankrupt. So shame on him, shame on Jimmer, say shame on all of them.
Yeah, that's it. So let's not. Then we got the Cleveland Browns taking on the Baltimore Ravens. First home game for Deshaun Watson, a snore fest. 13-3 Cleveland. The Browns, of course, Baltimore did not have Lamar Jackson and blah, 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 but no excuses. Go ahead with that one.
I'm not surprised that it was a low-scoring game because you've got Deshaun Watson who's still, listen, it's his second game back after missing 2 years of football. And yes, they've got weapons and Chubb and Hunt and, Amari Cooper, Peoples-Jones. They've got But this, at the end of the day, the Ravens right now have been playing actually pretty good defense as of late. They started off the season not too great. but they've been playing pretty good defense. So a defense going up a quarterback who is in his second game back, first home game, like you said. It's only the second time he's played with these guys again after missing. There's still tons of rust there to knock off. And then that Cleveland defense, which I think is good, going up against. And I know Tyler Huntley played well last year in place of Lamar Jackson, but he's still a backup quarterback for a reason. So going up against a backup quarterback who he still doesn't have any wide receivers. It's not like miraculously Baltimore got wide receivers when Lamar Jackson left, so they still don't have wide receivers. Their running game is good, but who's their number one rusher? Well, that's Lamar Jackson, and he's gone. So I like what J.K. Dobbins did. I think he rushed for 125 yards, and that's great. And Gus Edwards ran for 55 yards, and you had two good defenses with two good running games. It's going to be a low score, and two not great quarterbacks at this point, because Deshaun Watson was a great quarterback. We're going to see what he comes back as in the next few weeks. No quarterbacking, no wide receivers, running games, and good defense. You're going to have a low-scoring game. So I'm actually surprised Baltimore didn't make more of a game of it, but we've probably talked longer than we should have on this game.
All right. So, the next game hits home with the Miami Dolphins taking on the Buffalo Bills Saturday night. Orchard Park. There's going to be a monsoon of snow and all that. The game till the fourth quarter, there was no snow, and then it picked up. But the Buffalo Bills coming back and defeating the Miami Dolphins. And I'm going to say this, for me as a Bills fan or whatever, Miami impressed till the last maybe 8 minutes of the game. And then Buffalo, Josh Allen did our Josh Allen thing. They kicked a field goal. Buffalo wins. Or they scored the touchdown. They just kicked a field goal. Buffalo wins. Miami again 8-6, and Miami's got to watch out because this Sunday, Christmas Day, they play Green Bay. Green Bay's not out of it. Green Bay, Miami could be a game there. But what did you think of Saturday night's game?
You're lucky you breezed past that because you're 1,000% wrong there. But let's start with this game. Hey, look, I like seeing the Bills, who was my pick, as you know, at the beginning of the season to make the Super Bowl. So I need them to win close games because in the playoffs, they're going to have one possession games that they need to win. Miami, I think we're starting to see the youth of Miami in the sense that it's a young quarterback, it's a young coaching staff, it's right. Like those are games when you're up late that you should win. Buffalo has kind of gone through it now a couple of times in the playoffs, and they're still not great at it, but they're starting to figure it out that, hey, don't give up. There's always going to be another play. So, yeah, I like what I saw from the Bills getting out a tough win against a division rival, a good division rival. So I think there's some opportunity here for the Bills to build on this. But that's what I said the last time they won a one-possession game, and then they kind of didn't do as well in the next couple of one-possession games. So this is really a thing for them. They better figure out, hey, let's blow a team out, or let's figure out how to win these close games. And again, come playoff time. I like what I see from both teams, though. I like what I see from Miami. I like what I see from Buffalo. They're starting to going into the playoffs. I feel comfortable with both of those teams.
So are you telling me, getting back to Green Bay, Miami, or Green Bay and Miami Sunday, Christmas, you're saying Miami's going to blow them out?
The only thing that should be under Aaron Rodgers' tree is a ticket to his next city that he's going to play for. The Packers are done. They're not a good football team. Like, did you not watch the last season of football? They're not a good football team. You got Aaron Rodgers throwing to the back of Watson and making fun of him in the post-game interview that, well, if he wants to catch touchdown, you better run a route. That is not a healthy situation in that organization. There's nothing good going on in Green Bay. Win or lose, it is not a good situation. I think Miami is going to blow them out this next game.
Really? Okay. Well, I beg to differ there. I just smell a little bit something with Green Bay yesterday, and I think he knows
it's cheese. It's cheese, Joe. You smell cheese, and it's starting to go rotten.
You know what? I'm going to tell you. It's going to come down to the last game of the year, Green Bay, Detroit. And, I have a feeling I'm Green Bay, I think, will beat Miami this week. That's my observation. But let's start off with Sunday's Week 15. And usually we go 1 o'clock games, but we got to start off with the 4:25 game. The Las Vegas Raiders and the New England Patriots. Anthony, Bill Belichick, known as one of the greatest coaches ever. Apparently, the players say they practice plays and trick plays and all this stuff. Now, I'm going to ask you, what was that? The game was tied. They did not, were not losing, was not going to overtime. The game was tied.
I have no idea what the hell they were thinking. And listen, that is bad coaching, bad play calling, bad play. Like you can go 33, 33, 33 between the coach, the GM, who's the same person, the play calling, and the player. Like they all have equal blame in what should have been a win against a suspect Raiders team. Like this Raiders team has underperformed this season. And at minimum, you're going into overtime. So, the whole lateral and just it embarrassing. So for all the great things we say about Bill Belichick, we got to give him the blame when things go like this. And a lot of things have happened this season. Not having your coordinators in place and ready to go, just from day one. The personnel, they have issues at every position. There's an issue. That's Bill Belichick. He picks the players. He picks the coordinators. He has full control of that team. And, I said it at the beginning of the season, and I said it a little tongue-in-cheek, that this would be his last season. I think I'm wrong. I think he's going to come back because I don't think he wants to end it like this.
So, Mac Jones, you got Jimmy G coming back. Maybe Tom Brady goes out of Tampa for a reunited with Bill Belichick and all that. Do you keep Matt Jones, or do you go in the offseason looking for a quarterback in the draft, trading for somebody or whatever?
Well, listen, they had Drew Bledsoe. Now, granted, they drafted Tom Brady in the 6th round, but I think you're always looking for a quarterback because in today's NFL, and I've said this not once, not twice, I've said this a million times. In today's NFL, you need a quarterback on it doesn't necessarily have to be a team-friendly deal, but it needs to be not kind of top 5 moneymaker in the NFL. So the easiest way to do it is to hit lightning, strike lightning, hit gold, whatever you want to call it, in their rookie contract, so you can have skill positions around them and a good defense. It's been done over. The Seahawks did it with Russell Wilson. Miami's doing it right now. The Kansas City Chiefs won their Super Bowl under Patrick Mahomes' rookie contract. That's the way that you need to win in the NFL right now. So they're going to figure out Mac Jones real quick. He doesn't look to be that guy. Still early. Still what, year 2 for Mac? Year 2 for Mac Jones or year 3 for Mac Jones? But is there any signs of Mac Jones being that franchise quarterback? I think the answer is no, but it's hard to tell because even a guy like Tom Brady, when he won that first one, had a great defense. This team has shown signs of being a really good / great defense, just not quite good enough there yet. And they're in a very tough AFC. Every single team in the AFC is significantly better. Like when you think about the Patriots' run of domination, with all due respect, your Bills weren't that good. The Jets were horrible. The Dolphins, average at best. Well, now you've got the Jets are actually pretty good. The Dolphins are really good. And the Bills are great. Well, that makes it a lot tougher for Bill Belichick. It was a lot easier when he had 6 wins to start the season. He doesn't have that anymore. So we're going to really see. Maybe he does. Now I'm going to talk myself into it. Maybe he does retire at the end of the season, seeing that it's too tough. Or maybe he takes that job in Miami that they were offering Sean Payton.
Yeah, well, and I don't think they're going to get rid of the Miami coach anytime soon since he's done miracles with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
not the coach, but I think they offered Sean Payton GM. And try to bring Tom Brady in. Yeah, they got fined for it, so maybe that's the next move.
So we talked about my team. Let's talk a little bit about your team. So now I'm going to ask you this in all honesty: do they have a quarterback or not? They have a running back as the quarterback. Like, let's face it, but do they have a quarterback?
Yes. I'm going to say yes. And I was hesitant on Justin Fields. I liked him coming into the draft. I didn't know how the Bears would use him when they actually did get him because I had him rated as the number 2 quarterback going into that draft. So the fact that he slipped to the Bears where he did, I think is the fourth quarterback taken. Hey, that was great news for the Bears. My question with every Bears quarterback is, how are the Bears going to screw him up? And for the first little while, they did screw him up. I think week 5, 6, 7, somewhere this season, they figured out, hey, maybe we let this guy run a little bit. And lo and behold, the Bears offense looks completely different since he did that. Now he's hurt again, unfortunately. Hopefully that's not anything serious, but that's the thing with running quarterbacks. He's not big. He's not like, if you look at Jalen Hurts, who's also a mobile running quarterback, he is like, he squats 400 pounds. He is you can tell he is bigger and thicker than Justin Fields. So the fear is when you have a quarterback like that, he's going to get hurt. You're seeing it with Lamar Jackson. You saw it with RG3. You see it with, you can tell those guys that are not as built as some of them can't take the hits. Your question is, as a quarterback, yeah, but they need to get him some help. They still don't have a number one wide receiver. So I think this is a good start. So yeah, I think you got to roll the dice with Fields for at least a couple more seasons out, but you got to get him some offensive line help. You got to get him a number one receiver. I will say this, they played the Eagles really, really tough. And those are games that show you signs, hopefully to the players, but as fans, what they are capable of. They're capable of rolling with what, statistically, record wise is the best team in the league. Well, that's a good sign.
That's a good sign. And how frustrating are you? Because they lost 25-20. And they played a good game, and the quarterback, yeah, okay, he's like the running back or whatever, but and I don't have to tell you about the Philadelphia Eagle quarterback. He may be playing injured. He may not be playing this with Jalen Hurts. Of course, big game this week against the Cowboys, but that goes to the Cowboys and Jacksonville. Like, I'm going to be honest. I don't know if you hate Dallas because of Bear fan or whatever, but let's face it, in the NFL, it's flawed this year because you got Tampa, who's going to be probably at best 7-10, okay, at best, okay, and then they're going to get a home playoff game, 4th seed, probably playing Dallas, who is the 5th seed. Are you going to tell me right now, today, December whatever 20th, that Dallas is going to go into Tampa and beat Tom Brady in a playoff game in Tampa?
Well, listen. Dallas is always a very talented team that gets knocked out of the first round of the playoffs. So, with all due respect, it didn't matter. And I don't hate Dallas. I like Dallas. Mike Ditka played for the Bears, played for Dallas. We've got a long history of not hating each other. That being said, who did you expect Dallas to go into or to host and beat in a playoff game? The only team I think they had a chance of beating, it's not Philadelphia, it's not San Francisco, they're not beating Tampa, they're not playing the Giants or Washington because they weren't going to play each other. So the only one I believe that they had a chance of playing and beating is Minnesota, and only if it was on Monday night because Kirk Cousins is their quarterback. So, and we saw what we talked about Minnesota already. So I'm not worried about that. Do I think they go into Tampa and win? No, I think they go into Tampa and lose, but I think they lose the first round against anybody.
All right. Well,
that's unfortunately who Dallas is under Jerry Jones. I don't know why. The deal he made with the devil to be rich and famous probably included a clause of getting knocked out of the first round.
Well, I don't know. How about what about this week, losing overtime to Jacksonville? And Jacksonville, surprise. There's 2 teams here, and I'm going to ask you this right now. And I know I can't believe I'm going to ask you this. Jacksonville and Detroit, are they a better team than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now?
They're playing better football. They're not a better team, but they're playing better football. Right, there's a distinction there, but they're definitely playing better football. Right, better team. You're going to look at who's on the team, and you're going to look up and down the roster and say, "Oh, Tampa's a more talented tean." But yes, Detroit and the Jags are playing better football right now. I don't know what's going on in Tampa. They just. I don't think anyone can explain it because if they could, they'd probably get paid millions of dollars to fix it. There's no. I don't know. So maybe Brady's just showing his age.
If Carolina or Atlanta or New Orleans go on a little bit of a hot streak, because let's face it, Tampa plays Christmas Day or Christmas night against Arizona, and you would say it's a victory, right? The probably a win, but I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know the way Tampa's playing and all that. I don't know. Now, do you think Tampa goes to the playoffs because they have the past? All of them are 5-9 except Tampa 6-8. And
Listen, I've learned over the last 20 years, don't bet against Tom Brady. So I'm not going to bet against him. So I'll say yes, Tampa goes to the playoffs. But can I run you some numbers real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Tom Brady's 4 biggest losses of his career. 31-0 at the hands of the Bills. 41-14 at the hands of the Chiefs.
Yep.
38-3 versus the Saints when he's in Tampa. And 35-7 this season against the 49ers. The first one against the Bills was in 2003 with the Patriots, Super Bowl win. The second one, the 41-14 against the Chiefs, was also with the Patriots in 2014, Super Bowl win, Tom Brady. 2020 was the Saints 38-3 with Tampa. They win the Super Bowl. This season, 35-7 loss to the 49ers. Anything is possible when Tom Brady is playing a game. We learned it not learned it. We saw it again just 2 weeks ago. You give him a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes with a close one possession game, and he's going to drive his team down the field one way or another and get a score. That's what he does. That's who he is. So am I going to bet against him to make the playoffs when the people chasing him are the Carolina Panthers, the the New Orleans Saints?
Yep.
With who's their quarterback?
Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton, who's also I think 38 years old himself. Maybe we think Ritter, whatever his name in Atlanta is going to make a. Who are we worried about? Carolina started 3 different quarterbacks this season.
Yep.
And they're back to Sam Darnold. I'm not worried about them. That's why he went to Tampa. He's like, that's why he came out of retirement. He saw that division. And he went, oh, yeah, I'll take my chances. This team can finish 6, 7, and 10 and probably still make the playoffs.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like, what can you say? The NFL this year, it's really crazy. And this week was the craziest week of them all. We talk about 33-0. We talk about the throwback with the Patriots. We talk about the Jaguars winning in overtime. Saturday's games were crazy. Also, the Detroit beating the Jets. Both teams are now 7-7. What about? I'm going to ask you this. Who I was hoping for. What about KC going to overtime with Houston? And kudos to you. Like, honestly, when week 1, 2, when we did this, when your name was Midday Mike, or when you said, watch out for Houston. They may not win a lot of games, but these guys, because, former coach of your team, was keeping these guys close. And let's face it, Houston gave a scare to Dallas last week, gave a scare to Kansas City, although they lost. Kudos to Houston. They're 1-11.
Listen, I told you the one thing I know about Lovey is that look, this team was not just, you can look at the roster. They're not going to win a lot of games, and that's what I said. They're not going to win a lot of games, but they're going to be in a lot of games and you're going to be surprised. That's what I said. Sure, they're going to get their blowouts because they're not a good team. They're going to get blown out occasionally, but when you put the right team in front of them, they'll step up to the challenge and they will play hard for Lovie Smith. And I hope that they don't do what they did last year, which was put a terrible product on the field and then blame the coach, right? And then they fired him. Well, you knew you're going to lose. I hope Lovie Smith gets to reap the rewards of this bad season and get that first round pick and have I always say this. And I shouldn't do this, by the way. I got into a Twitter war with some idiot about Hugh Jackson. And it goes the same for Lovie Smith, Rod Marinelli, like, 0-16. These are the worst coaches of all time. And I'm just like, guys, there's so much that goes into it. You got to look at the roster. You got to look at the team. There's stuff going on behind the scenes that you don't know. They want to lose sometimes. Look, I know we hate to say it and tanking. No, that's the plan. Tank. But the coaches that get the raw deal where it's, hey, we're tanking for the next 2-3 years to build up draft capital, to build up whatever it is, build up a young core of talent. But then it takes 2 to 3 years to get those guys. So you got to look at that team and say, okay, can Lovie Smith take this Houston Texans team now, the first round pick this year, they're going to be terrible again next year, and it'll be another top 10 pick. Then once you've built all that up, and I'm talking first, second, third rounds, it's going to be, those first, and they're going to be high draft picks in each round. Then put all those players together and give them a year or two to build from that team. So can I say give him 5 years? Yeah, Lovie Smith's going to have you in the playoffs competing for a Super Bowl. That's what he did with the Bears. But you don't do that. You say, oh, 111, 112 and 1, whatever their record is. And you say, oh, he stunk, he's out. And then people look back in 5 years who, the 15-year-olds that like to sit on their mom's basement on their phones saying stuff. Oh, he sucks. He was 115 and 1 or whatever his record's going to be. Yeah, he was. But no one else could have turned that. No one else would have done any better. 1 or 2 wins wouldn't have made a difference. Take the first pick overall. So back to your point, I'll bring it back to where we were talking about. They were competitive, put a scare into them. I think, let's be honest, a team like Kansas City also probably looked past the Texans a little bit. And that's why you should never look past the team, because you never know. That's why they say any given Sunday.
All right, let's just close out, because we got Fluent here, and I got to ask him some NBA questions, what's going on with the Raptors.
Can we talk about one more game before we get to that, though?
Go ahead.
Because I'm shocked and appalled by NFL officiating, and I'm surprised you didn't bring it up.
No,
because as a former wide receiver, the one thing that we always do when we line up on the outside is look at the line judge and ask him, am I on the line of scrimmage? And when he gives me the thumbs up, I go, cool. Or he says, move up a little bit. It's like, I don't know if it's a written rule, but it's an unwritten rule. That's their job is, hey, I'm checking with you because I can't see. There's a bunch of dudes in the way. And the fact that ref looked like he gives him the thumbs up, or looked like he went over and asked him and he said, yeah, you're fine. And literally you can see, yeah, you're fine. As the ball's being snapped, he's throwing his flag. Hold on. You set him up to fail. And he was the head of officiating, or the VP of officiating, for a while before he decided to come back and be a full-time on-field line judge. To do that to a player in that instance, in a particular game, that cost them the game, because they rushed. I think they tie it up with that touchdown, right?
Yeah.
That's the fact that this isn't a bigger deal. He's not getting something, a fine. Like, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but that is appalling to me. That is ridiculous to me. That, like, go back and watch football. It's always, always, always. You look at the line judge. Am I there? No, scoot up. Okay. No, move back a bit. Okay. Never, yeah, you're fine. And then throw a flag, like, because you set him up to fail. That's horrible. Just horrible.
And you're talking about the Giants Commanders game, and the Giants won by 8, 20-12. That was it was a Sunday night game. Everybody was watching it. It wasn't like 1 o'clock game. It was one of the Sunday night games. And when you look at the referee, the referee's giving you a nod. Giving you a nod and all that. And you're right. Throwing the flag, he before the play, almost simultaneously takes out the flag and all that. Like, if there was not a come on, man, you're putting your trust in the referee.
And listen, if he had turned his head, right, and didn't look at him at all, that's on the wide receiver. But the fact that he turned, looked, right, he asked, he did what he's supposed to do. So that really bothered me. Now, look, does that mean they win that game? No, they might. They score the touchdown. They still might not get the
2 points.
They still might not get the 2-point conversion. The outcome still might not have changed. But they took it out of the players' hands, and they put it in the ref's hands. And the story the next day should never be about a ref. It should always be about the play on the field. And I think in basketball, I think Ja Morant is singing from the same songbook that I am. Right? It's not about you, refs. Right? It's about the players. So, stop trying to be the show. You're not the show. I'm sorry. Umpires, refs, line judges, whatever. Everybody who's not playing, no one paid to see you. No one. No, and this is no disrespect to the refs or the umpires or the judge. What they do is super hard. Things happen so fast. players are so big and strong and a million things going on, and you're never going to get that all right. The utmost respect. I ref basketball games. It is so hard to do well. Anybody could do it. It's hard to do well. So I give the utmost respect, but you're not the show. And again, no one paid to see you. They're paying to see the players. Let them play. And that really bothered me in that game.
And that's 100%. I was going to talk on that. I also want to close out the NFL with the Chargers. The Chargers beating Tennessee 17-14. And I got to say this, Tennessee, you got Jacksonville right behind you, a game there. So it's like, and Tennessee's been falling off and all that, but kudos to the Chargers. There's a team, you talk about not Dallas and all that, who wants to play the Chargers in the playoffs. If you're, a second team, Kansas City, where they already have trouble with the Chargers, right? So the Chargers and Herbert, and they're getting healthy. Their wide receivers getting healthy and all that. So, the Chargers really someone to look out for in the AFC now. And the NFL this week, because of Christmas, almost all the games are on Saturday. But Thursday night, when you look at, the schedule comes out, I don't know, maybe in May, you look at Amazon getting Thursday night football, you get the Jaguars and the Jets. Anthony, when you see this, you're like, the hell did they do to these guys? But you know what? This is
It's
a
actually
good,
going to be.
good
It's actually
matchup.
it's an important game. The Jags can move really close to the Titans, and there's nothing guaranteed with the Titans. They could lose to anybody. I
Yep.
disagree with you, by the way, on the Chargers thing. I'm not high on the Chargers. I'm not high on Justin
Really?
Herbert. This season, I think Justin Herbert's going to be a great quarterback, but I think Justin Herbert. I might as well just say it now. Justin Herbert's going to be this generation's Phillip Rivers. He's going to give you great stats, great performances, great games, and then he's going to give you clunkers. Even in that game, he threw for a bunch of yards. He threw a bunch of time. They got the win. He throws 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. It's not like he's, setting the world on fire when it matters the most. I think people anointed him way too fast. And again, I'm not saying he's terrible. He's great. He hasn't done anything yet. He hasn't even made the playoffs yet. And some of that is the team. Some of that is his defense. But some of it is him too. So that being said, yeah, the Jets are fighting for a playoff spot, right? They're 7-7. They're 1 game back of a playoff. The Jaguars are 2 games back of Tennessee with 4 games left. Or 3 games left, excuse me, with 3 games left. There's an opportunity. Tennessee could lose out. Like there's nothing about Tennessee that tells me they're going to win. So yeah, this is a really important game for both teams.
All right, so that's Thursday, Jaguars, Jets, 8:15. But I have to throw this in. Anthony.
Sure, throw this one in. It's going to be a blowout, and you're welcome.
No. Do you want to place a bet, a small shekel, since it's Hanukkah time? Come on.
Sure, I'll take the Bills. You take the Bears.
No. All right, Bills.
I'll give you the 9, and I'll give you the 9 points. I'll give you 10.
No, but listen, Bills and Bears. I don't know if it's going to be 10 points. I think the Bills will win by a touchdown, but 10 points a little bit maybe.
Well, we'll see because Justin Fields got banged up a little bit. This game means nothing, so they might sit him. He wants to play, obviously, but if they sit him, I don't know if it was his throwing shoulder or his other shoulder that he hurt, but they might sit him. And if it's Nathan Peterman, if you recall, Nathan Peterman's first appearance in the NFL was with Buffalo, where he threw 4 interceptions on 5 attempts. So it's not, there's not a lot of confidence there if it's Nathan Peterman.
I hope it's Nathan Peterman, put it that way. So another game, 1:00 game that I'm watching is because Belichick, is pissed. It's Cincinnati going into New England. That can be, you would say Cincinnati all the way, but it can be a
game. This could be a field goal game. This could be a tight game. Yeah.
And another game, the Giants and Vikings. Okay. So, and Detroit, Carolina. If you look at what we talked about, New Orleans, Atlanta, Carolina. Detroit's at Carolina. Atlanta's at Baltimore. And New Orleans at Cleveland. So, and like I told you, on Christmas night, you have Tampa at Arizona. So, interesting thing, and I have to talk about this. We have the Saturday night, Christmas Eve night game, 8:15 p.m., the 50th anniversary, the Raiders, the Steelers. What do you say about this game?
I'm not going to be surprised at all if the Steelers win this game. Not at all. They're both 6-8.
Yeah.
The Steelers, and I said, listen, I'm now 100% correct, or I was, I guess, when they lost their 8th game.
Yeah.
I guess they still have a
They
chance.
still could go 10-8.
9-8.
9-8.
Still could go 9-8. But I said this was going to be the first year Mike Tomlin as Steelers head coach doesn't finish above 500. I still believe that. But do you have any faith in Derek Carr? Do you have any faith in the Raiders?
You know
Do you
what?
have any faith? Did you have any faith in Josh McDaniels? Because if you did, it should be gone.
No.
So if you're asking me to pick a game, I'll take the Steelers. I'll take the Steelers at home on this one.
All right. So now I'm going to tie this up. We got 5 minutes left here. I'm going to tie this up. Traditionally, Sunday, Christmas Day, we watch the NBA. Now give me the sound effects for NBA. Come on.
What are the sound effects for NBA? I'll give you.
All right.
I'll give you your favorite woo.
I
got Kawhi Leonard laughing.
That's right. Okay, so the NBA has the traditional Christmas Day games, and here are the games. Noon, the 76ers, Knicks. 2:30, Lakers, Dallas. 5, Milwaukee and Boston. 8, Memphis, Golden State, now with Steph Curry not there. And then 10:30, Phoenix and Denver. Okay, then the NFL now has Christmas Day games just because it's on a Sunday. We talked about the 1 o'clock game, Green Bay at Miami, Denver at the Rams, and Tampa at Arizona. When you, like I said, when you looked at this schedule at the beginning of the year, Green Bay, Miami, whoa, right? Then Denver with Russell Wilson and defending Super Bowl champions Rams, and then you got Tom Brady going to Arizona with Kyler Murray. Who's going to watch the NFL when you got these games? Philadelphia, New York is going to be a good game. I'm telling you that right now. And Lakers, everybody wants the Lakers to lose on Christmas. You're waiting to see the Lake. And then the game, probably at 5 o'clock, it's Boston and Milwaukee. Out of these 3 games, are you interested in any NFL game, or are you interested more in the NBA?
Okay, so if I would, first of all, Dolphins and Packers, I've already told you it's going to be a blowout. You're not going to want to watch it. If I told you Week 15 matchup of the Rams and the Broncos, the defending Super Bowl champs, with Russell Wilson leading the Bronco team that was supposedly a quarterback away, and I told you that those two teams in Week 15 would have a combined 8 wins, you would have said I was nuts. So no one's watching that game because who cares? They're not going anywhere. Other than fans of those teams, right?
Yeah.
And then you got the Bucks and the Cardinals. 6-8 versus 4-10. You might watch it to see because the Bucks are fighting for a playoff spot again. But if you're not a fan of, you're not watching that. I don't think there's any NFL game that has any interest. Unfortunately, now when they made the schedule, maybe. But when I look at the NBA schedule, and some of them now aren't as good as they would have been, because I would have loved to see the Grizzlies and the Warriors if everyone's healthy. Right, John Morant, Steph Curry, like you got it. That's that's lost some of its luster. The Lakers and the Mavs, sure, it's the Lakers. You're going to want to see LeBron James. You're going to want to watch Luka Doncic. I think you're right. The Knicks now are looking pretty good all of a sudden. The Sixers, obviously contender in the East. Both teams are 17-12, 17-13. So that is going to be a good game. I'm still watching the Grizzlies and the Warriors. I'm still watching, and the Suns and the Nuggets. That's another 2 top Western Conference teams. Yeah, like you're going to be sitting there watching the NBA, flipping back to the NFL. Between, like, luckily there's a lot of whistles in the NBA, so you can be jumping back and forth a little bit. But for sure, you're going to be watching more NBA than. And listen, I get it. It's Sunday. Sunday is football, but Christmas Day is basketball. So it does take a little bit of precedence.
And Milwaukee and Boston.
Milwaukee Boston's gonna be a great game. That goes without saying. Everyone's watching that one. I think that's gonna be, when we get the ratings after the weekend's over, that's gonna be the one that has the most viewership.
And don't forget, we'll touch a little bit on Fired Up Live, where you're going to be a guest with some guy who won an award that I don't even know what the award is. Drew Ebanks, Captain Canada. Do you know what the award was or what?
Hey, well, he won Man of the Year.
I thought I'm the president.
Canadian Man of the Year. I thought you gave him that award.
Oh, well, no, I wouldn't. I
I
wouldn't
get
give him
nothing.
that.
I get nothing. Drew gets plaques and awards.
Yeah, yeah.
I
He's
get
on
nothing.
location. He's on point, on location, on whatever. But here's another. When you talk about the NBA, traditionally, are the NFL risking it? This is the first time and next year you're going to play a Friday, a Black Friday game, NFL game, right? Are they risking taking away because the following year Monday Night Football's on a Monday, on Christmas is Monday next year, right? Are they risking alienating the NBA there?
No, I don't. Look, this is going to be there's enough viewership to go around. I don't. I think they realize it's just football is just it just happens to fall, right? Like it's going to fall this year on a Sunday, next year on a Monday, and then when's the next time that
Yeah,
Christmas is going to be on a Sunday? Like it's going to be
6 years later, probably
6 years
six.
later. Okay, so there you go. So no, I don't think it's a big deal.
All right, as we sum up midday update, okay, Mike, get it? Mike wants your pick of the week so far. Early pick of the week. Early pick of the week.
NFL pick of the week.
Yeah,
Any game?
any game. Hopefully you go with BILLS.
That's the easy one. Bills over the Bears. That's an easy one. How about this one? I'll give you the upset of the week.
Okay.
I got Bills over Bears as a lock, and I'll give you the upset of the week. The Texans upset the Titans and make that AFC South even a little bit more interesting because let's say the Jags beat the Jets. The Jags beat the Jets on Thursday night. Houston beats Tennessee and makes the AFC South really interesting.
So, and now we'll go back to basketball as we close it out. And we're based out of Toronto, okay? What is going on with the Raptors? And we saw you, Jerry, and you saw this on maybe ESPN or whatever. Every time there's a 5 or 6 game losing streak, the next time he makes a major trade. Do you expect in the next 2-3 weeks, let's say beginning of the year? We saw you, Jerry, do it.
I would say that the Raptors have been in a position to make a trade all season long. So no, I wouldn't be surprised. This might be that catalyst to that trade. He's been trying to make a big splash over the last 2 years. So let's be clear. Whether something happens or not, Masai is on the phones working something. He's trying to get something done. This team is not built to be a championship team, and he wants to win. Listen, he wants to compete for championships, and I give him the utmost respect for that. He realizes he's not going to get the big name free agents. He's going to have to make trades to do it. We have by far, I won't say by far. We have one of, if not the best, developmental leagues. Like when you look at the players on our roster, right? Pascal was a project.
Yeah.
Fred VanVleet was undrafted. OG Anunoby was a project. Like all of our players come through. Chris Boucher, any of these players, you can see they are developed from within, sometimes from the 905, other times other places. When he drafted Coloco, everyone was like, who's that? And I'm like, you watch, he's going to be a starter. I said by halfway through the season, I did not expect him to be a day one starter. And I said, but by halfway through the season, they'll develop him into, a legit player. Like he still needs more years and whatever. So the only way he can bring in someone is to make a splash. And there is interest, right? Phoenix apparently is dangling DeAndre Ayton. I hate that, by the way. I'm not a big Ayton fan. There's moves to be made. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. The one thing I will say to all the Raptors fans, stop. As Michael Jordan once said, stop it. Get some help. Okay? So, you don't need to fire Nick Nurse. Yes, Nick Nurse isn't coaching the way you would coach. That's why he's an NBA champion and you've never coached an NBA game in your life. Okay? There's levels to this. You might not like his rotations because when they don't work, every coach is an idiot who doesn't know what they're doing. Yeah. But guess what? When he makes the moves that work, you're like, wow, he's a genius. He's the best defensive coach I've ever seen. I get it. That's how fans flip-flop. But just pump the brakes a little bit. This roster is not built, is not built to win. Scotty Barnes didn't take the big leap in year 2, but you don't expect him to. That's what I keep telling people. It's not year 2 is not the big leap. Year 2 is typically the sophomore slump. So the fact that he's remained consistent actually is a really good sign. It's year 3 and 4 where they take the steps up. And then in year 5, 6, that just go look at most players. There's exceptions, the Magic Johnsons of the world. But even like LeBron, year 1, 2 was that there was a leap, but still it was year 4 or 5 when he really
Yeah.
started to become that guy. Jordan maybe out of the gate. Okay, he's an exception.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum. What's this? Jason Tatum year 6. Now he's a legit MVP. Last year, people were saying, is he ever going to get there? So the same thing. Give Barnes a couple more years, kind of to develop. I don't like Siakam taking the last shots. I feel like he makes the wrong
I don't
decision
trust him.
every time in the last minute.
Yeah.
I
So
just
now you're Anthony Ujiri, okay?
yeah.
Out of the guys you made, out of the guys you named, Fred VanVleet, Pascal, and all that, OG, and there's trades to be made. Who out of that group are you trading, and who are you not trading, no matter what?
There's no player on the Raptors roster that is untouchable.
Even Scotty Barnes?
No Raptor, I'll say it again. There's
Okay.
no player on the Raptors roster that is untouchable because, as you know, this is the difference between a fan and you made me a GM and a GM.
Yeah.
It depends what I'm getting, right? You say you would never trade Scotty Barnes. That's crazy. Really? If Mark Cuban calls you up, look, it's
No,
not
well,
realistic.
they
Hey, we
apparently
want to trade you Doncic for Scotty Barnes and Fred VanVleet. You're packing his bag for
well
him because
apparently the trade was Scotty Barnes for Kevin Durant, and he said no. Other,
that was a long-term decision. Because in the short term, that's a deal that gets the Raptors over the hump.
yeah,
It is like you put if it's just straight, and it can't be straight up, by the way,
it
because
wasn't
the
straight
salaries
up. It
don't.
was pieces and pieces
Yeah,
with
and that
the
and I
biggest
think
names.
and I would say but see you, if it's straight up, he's making that deal all day. But because of salaries, he has to throw in OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet. He'll probably want and 5 first-round picks. Well, now that's a different deal, right? That's a different deal. But if it's Scotty Barnes for Kevin Durant, and I don't know how we make and Fred VanVleet, I guess, to make the salaries work. You're doing that deal. You're doing that deal all day long, because for the next 3 years, that puts you in a position to compete for a championship.
Yeah, yeah.
That being said, yeah, because what is it? Kevin Durant has, I think, 3 years left on his contract. So you got him for 3 years. So you're making that deal. But I think it's all the other pieces, because if you're going to have Kevin Durant, you have to keep Siakam. You have to keep OG, because you need that defense and you need that second guy. Siakam is 100% and a 1B or 2 player on it. We saw it with Kawhi when he wasn't even as good as he is now. As a 1B or 2 on a championship team, Siakam is that guy. He's just not a 1, and that's okay. That's, again, not a knock on Siakam. It's just he's not that level, right? He's all NBA, 3rd team last year, like deservingly so. He's just can't be your best player on a championship team.
All right, so I just want to say, as we close it out, happy Hanukkah to all the Jewish fans out there. Best of the season. Christmas is coming, all that. I also want to say to Anthony K, for people who know, he is a coach of an under 10 group, and first time ever in a tournament. Not only do they win, they blow out. And you know why they blew out the opposite? Drew Ebanks was coaching the other side. So right now, Anthony K is a better coach than a guy who got a trophy for I don't know what. He was too busy on point, on location, or whatever. But congratulations, Anthony. Maybe you want to fill out everybody what I'm talking about here.
Nah, I coach. It's a first-year team for, what, the kids did amazing. I do coach U10. That's what it's about, teaching the kids to get better at basketball, developing their skills. It's the first tournament they've ever played in. 5 games. They won all 5 by an average of 30-something plus points. So good for them. The GTA Mavericks, hey, if you want to get your kids signed up, we've got U10, U12, U14 in Vaughan area, which is north of Toronto. Send them over. We'll make them better people, better athletes.
But the coach has to get a little bit of kudos. So on behalf of the
This,
kids,
this was my reward, right?
No. On behalf of the kids, you know what? The coach made them more fluent. And for everybody, Marty Roberts is chiming in here and all that. For everybody, Drew Ebanks, yes, plays basketball, defense basketball like this snowman right on the bottom of the screen here, right? That's Drew Ebanks playing defense for basketball. But Anthony, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you social media wise.
You can get a hold of me, sports_fluent. That's on IG, Twitter, and TikTok. You can become more fluent there. And if you want to send your kids like this one to great basketball camp or part of a great rep program, the GTA Mavericks are just the GTA Mavericks. And you can find them at gta.mavericks on Instagram.
All right, hold on. I'm going to ask him a question.
Oh, he's going to ask you a question.
What do you want for Christmas?
What do you want for Christmas? What do you want? You don't know? We're live. You better hurry up. Santa's listening.
Don't worry, because Drew Ebanks has told me he's going to get.
He said he already has the best present. He's got the best coach in the world.
All right,
so
Drew, I was going to get Drew Ebanks to give him something, but no.
Right. He wants a Steph Curry jersey.
Drew Ebanks, you hear that? Captain
Drew,
Canada.
Drew, get on it.
Anthony's kids.
Luka Doncic? Okay, Luka Doncic.
Luka Doncic jersey. One of your many, many jerseys. You have it hanged up in your house there and all that. Luka Doncic. And for that matter, Anthony, don't you want your Luka Doncic jersey also? Drew Ebanks can get anything. He's
I would love a double XL Giannis Antetokounmpo jersey if anyone's listening.
From one Greek freak to another.
That's right.
That's Anthony K here on Midday Update. Thanks a lot, Anthony. Stay tuned for more great programming on the Fire.